With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
This is VSiN By The Books on VSiN, the sports betting network.
And we are back, VSiN By The Books here on a Monday. I'm Dave Ross, back from vacation here at Circus Sports in downtown Las Vegas. He is our closer, Jensen Lewis, back home in Cleveland, Ohio. Jensen, what did I miss all week long? You and Grace and Keith, you guys crushed it. The shows look fantastic. We got we got a new pope. We got a new champion in the UFC. Have we covered all the bases in the week that I was off?
Well, first of all, great to have you. We thought that we might lose you when we saw that you were connecting at Dallas-Fort Worth, and just knowing your affinity for America's team, just for the Dallas Cowboys, there was a chance that I was going to be hosting this show for weeks to come. But great to have you. Awesome pictures and video. So glad you got the well-deserved R&R. I'm sure the family and friends were happy to see you. Yeah, kind of what's happened since you took a week off, both here on the show and around the sports world. But boy, hell of a week for you to come back, my friend. PGA Championship.
Oh, man.
We get the schedule release in NFL. We're going to get just all kinds of leaks here the next 48 hours. These featured games. We've got the final couple weeks of college baseball, and buddy, what a time to be alive. Going to be a lot of fun this week.
There's no truth to the rumor that I helped facilitate the George Pickens trade to Dallas while I was in Dallas-Fort Worth there at the airport. You seeing the Dallas Cowboy Club as I went through there, and I seen Tom Landry, the man in the hat. It all feels like a sign to bet the Cowboys over 7.5 win total. I don't know if I should take it as such, Jensen, but we will get there. A couple shout-outs very quickly. Obviously, Mom and Dad, it was just so great to be home for the week. But I do want to say, Jensen, that we were at Barrel 17, the restaurant in Virginia Beach that we were first sighted at. And so we go back to Barrel 17. Heather, the waitress there, she's fantastic, watches our show every day. They put us up. And now, Jensen, it's on you, big fella. I have now made the pilgrimage. They want you to show up at Barrel 17 in Virginia Beach. So you're a big star there. They're big fans of ours. Shout out to everybody back home in Virginia Beach for watching. That's on Masson each and every day that they watch us on. So wherever you are across the country, thank you for tuning in. And, of course, if you're listening here on Sirius Channel 158 across the dial, we appreciate you hopping on this morning. You mentioned it. We're going to have the schedule released this week. We're going to have the second major championship of golf. Can't wait to break that down here at the PGA down there in North Carolina. Today, Cody Decker is going to join us here in hour number 1, as we do each and every Monday. That MLB win total race for May. Boy, Jensen, we'll get to that. It felt good, like we were off to a good start. Maybe some rocky roads ahead. We'll get to that. The one and only, the king of Connecticut, Will Hill's going to join us, get his thoughts in hour number 3 in the NBA and beyond. And then Rachel Dory back here. My goodness, the Stanley Cup playoffs, Jensen, they never seem to disappoint. So each and every year, here we are again, a great show lined up here on this Monday. We'll get to the UFC, see if you can handle the truth as well. And also, we're going to buzz the tower today for the first time. Jensen, do you want to give the people a little sneak peek into what they're going to hear later?
Well, you know me, I pick my spots, and that's literally and figuratively when it comes to what I used to do in my younger days. But what's happening on the field? I have thoughts, so we'll buzz the tower, and we'll see if people stand in or not.
Just going to say I'm really excited for that segment. Okay, I cannot wait for that debut today. That's going to be a lot of fun to get to later on in the program. But it is time, without further ado, for our highlights and headlines.
Help your bottom line with today's highlights and headlines.
Well, we mentioned that, of course, the Stanley Cup playoffs have fully delivered. Oof, I don't know what we saw yesterday between OKC and Denver. Was it 17-8? Did I hear an 8 after one quarter of play yesterday in NBA playoff basketball, and then all of a sudden it looks like Denver is going to win this thing. They got a fourth quarter lead, pretty sizable going in there, and then OKC kind of rights the ship late, and they get this evening series win here in Denver to knot this thing up. I mean, they were in danger of going down 3-1, but they get it done here. I don't know what you made of it, Jensen. I don't know if it's Jokic and tired legs, if they're just not good enough. But, boy, if you've got OKC tickets, how do you feel about them? Do you feel better or worse?
Well, I felt that we would get at least the best effort from Denver, period, because I do feel they knew that the national narrative was, this is Oklahoma City's time, and there's no one that can really hang with them. And Denver saying, hey, you remember us? We've won a title. We feel like we still got the best player in the world. Matchup of the top 2 MVP candidates in this series. So an absolute boatload of pride for them. And I feel that you're getting that kind of effort from this entire Nugget club. That being said, just in the microcosm of where this series has been, okay, we have had times where it's gotten off the rails quickly. And now whether that means, a lot of scoring, no scoring, very, very late 80s, early 90s NBA playoffs there in the first quarter. But you saw championship DNA in that fourth quarter by Oklahoma City. What's been their calling card? Lockdown defense, the ability to get it to your star and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then having the supporting cast come through when they need to. So I think overall we knew that if Denver was going to win this series, Dave, Jokic was going to have maybe one of his best playoff series of all time, just knowing what you're up against. And then I think at the same time, Oklahoma City would have to have some self-inflicted wounds. Mm-hmm. They have, but here we are, best of 3, series tied at 2. And I think Oklahoma City now kind of has that, all right, we took your best punches. We're still standing. Now it's time to kind of impose our will a bit. I think you'll see that in Game 5.
I mean, look at the series price. OKC's back up to $525 in a 2-all. I mean, you don't see that at 2-all. And obviously, you'd have to win one more back there in Oklahoma City here if you're going to be at Denver to get this thing done. It's just absolutely amazing to see how quickly that shifts. Plus $4 here if you still think that Denver is live. I don't know that I do. We'll get to that throughout the course of the day. I don't know what happened yesterday in Indiana. Yes, sirs. That's the new hashtag here for the Pacers. Yes, sir. 129-109 win over the Cavs. And Jensen, maybe they're all talking about Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. What do they make of what's going on here so far with the Cavaliers now down 3-1?
Well, first and foremost, that's a first half to forget. I put it out on social media yesterday. I said, okay, is this the most embarrassing first half by the Cavaliers all year, or is this the most incredible first half by the Pacers all year? And I think both can be true, Dave. The headline here in Cleveland, of course, what is the status of Donovan Mitchell? He's going to get an MRI today on the ankle. You would assume, just knowing the competitive nature, if there is a chance that he can go, he will do everything medically possible to be in a position to go out and stave off elimination. No one in their right mind, I think overall, thought that this series would be where it would be from a games perspective, but credit where it's due. The Indiana Pacers, and coming into the postseason, Dave, how many guys did we talk to? JVT, Zach Cohen, Adam Burke, a lot of our people here, and I credit them, were circling the Indiana Pacers to say if there was a team that could give them resistance, if there was a team that might be able to trip them up. And I know the caveat here, Dave, is the injury issues that the Cavaliers had to go to, not having Garland, Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter for an entire game. But you got 50 from Donovan Mitchell, or almost 50, and you should have won that game. So woulda, shoulda, couldas. You leave those for the critics and the people that write in newspapers. What you have to do now, you have the coach of the year in Kenny Atkinson. If you don't have Donovan Mitchell, the whole year has been predicated around how deep your team is, how many multiple different options you have to go to. You're the number 1 seed. You're a 64-win team, and you're pushed to the brink at this point. We will find out what kind of championship medal this club has, and I'm anxious to see what they do in Game 5.
We did a wellness check there with J. Lou in Cleveland. We're going to do a wellness check in Hour 3 with Rachel Dory north of the border on the Maple Leaf because all of a sudden you're up 2-0, and now you're not up 2-0, 2-2 now. The Bobber is back for the Florida Panthers, looking like Sergei Bobrovsky as we've come to see him through the years. 23 saves in a 2-0 shutout win over Toronto in Game 4 back there in Sunrise, Florida. So this thing all knotted up at 2. Again, Jensen, you hate to play psychologist, but you almost feel like you have to with Toronto here. Look, they're right there in there. They just couldn't solve Bobber, but really they had to get more shots on net, right? You only make him make 23 saves in this 2-0 win. But I guess if you're the champs, if you're Florida, you got to feel like, all right, everything's back on schedule.
I gave out the under 6.5 on Friday. Just felt like this would be, one of those options where if Carolina needs to play a kind of a ground and pound game, they're still well equipped to do that, especially at home. And again, overall, Dave, we circled Carolina coming out of that first round as the one team that there wasn't a lot of publicity about, but it was a really good squad. Was there a team, excuse me, the Panthers, I should say, my apologies. Florida was that team that because of the injuries, and we thought the Lightning would get the better of that first round. Did not happen. A championship medal yet again. You come out, and then all really the narrative, Dave, was based on, maybe the Maple Leafs have finally put it together. Maybe they're going to exercise the playoff demons. And here we go, all knotted up at 2. And I think now, again, same way that we talked about the Thunder taking the best punch from the Nuggets, I feel like the Florida Panthers have taken the best punch from Toronto, and that could mean a lot of headaches for Maple Leaf fans here moving forward.
Did I miss something? Did they lose home ice? We get a home ice dog in Toronto at plus $1.60 here when you're all knotted up at 2. I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a whoosh, a little bit disrespectful to Toronto, but the ghost of playoff past feel like they're being reflected in the odds board here, and even in Game 5 on Wednesday. The Leafs are a home dog at plus $1.20. So that's interesting to me. Austin Matthews got to get cranked up here, obviously, for Toronto if they're going to have any visions of grandeur here in pulling the series out, all knotted up at 2. Okay, we have a lot more to get to here on this Monday, my friend. Again, we're going to buzz the tower later. We'll find out if you can handle the truth in MMA handicapping. And also, when we come back, let's get back to what we're going to see on the hardwood tonight and the NHL. And then Cody Decker is going to join us at the bottom half of this hour. So much to get to in so little time. We are back with much more right here. It is VSiN By The Books.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back. VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross, Jensen Lewis here on a Monday NBA Tonight. And Jensen, I will say, I just love the fact that this is kind of New York, Boston. That we've got those cities that can't stand each other. I like real, actual rivalries in sports. And certainly they don't get a little anymore, I'd say, nasty than it does between New York and Boston. So, I'm back home. It's 2-0 Boston. We're all talking about Madison Square Garden, what it's going to look like on that Saturday. And you saw the pricing for it to get to a 4 seed at the Garden. And then that thing was over before it began. And, Jensen, when you look at tonight, and now the Celtics, obviously, big favorites to win this again and even the series up, minus 258 on the money line. You want to have a comeback here in the Knicks, you can take them at plus 210. Do you look at it and go, all right, the first 2 games in Boston, those were the aberrations. Like the Celtics were up 20 in each one of those games late in the third and somehow not lost one, but lost both of those games. Historic fashion, you just don't see that. Now it's up to 6.5. Money line's up, by the way, to 265 here in the East. So the betting market's telling us, your dream New York is over, or it's going to come to an end shortly. I kind of push back and think you're going to get the best punch from Tibbs and company tonight, at the Garden. I guess the question is their punch good enough to get Boston's attention?
Yeah, I could see, and again, no official play just yet on this game for me, but I could definitely see that idea coming true, Dave, where it's a Celtics win, but it's a Knicks cover, and almost, like the Knicks selling out here to try and even this thing up before heading back to Boston and not reinventing the wheel with that take. More importantly, I think it's the adjustment now and the Celtics kind of getting that monkey off their back of, oh, hey, we hit some threes. And we hit them early, and they kind of took the crowd out of it, right? So this really was never a contest in Game 3, the way that Boston hit from distance, the way they did in Game 3 versus Game 1 and Game 2. So if that trend continues in Game 4 tonight, Dave, Knicks are in for a world of hurt, because we already knew that offensively Boston could overmatch New York if it came down to it. What is the effectiveness of Karl Anthony Towns, with the hand injury?
Right.
There has been some issues in the front court there. I think overall with some toughness, I think Kendrick Perkins came out and kind of called out Cat about that. But I think that if Boston, again, this has been their bread and butter, they're going to shoot a boatload of threes. If they hit early, I think New York is in a world of hurt.
Even when they were down 0-2, the Celtics were still, think about that. You lose the first 2 games at home, and they were still the series favorites. It's small, but you could have still had in about minus $1.15, something like that, for Boston before Game 3. Now they ballooned up to a $3 betting favorite in the series, where they were about $8, $10 betting favorite before the series even began. And now you look at the comeback here in the Knicks, up 2-1 with a home game tonight at plus 245. Is this just you mentioned kind of getting that monkey off their back? I mean, they are the reigning defendings, which is bizarre to me. That even maybe it's just the Knicks, Jensen, right? It's just that arch rival of I have to get the monkey off my back with the Knicks. And we just, for whatever reason, that New York-Boston thing. Do you think it's because it's New York that's the only reason why this has happened? Let's say if it was Indiana, we'll find out if Cleveland can get off the deck here. Is this just a New York-Boston thing? That's why they were in their head in the first 2 games to make those massive comebacks?
Oh, yeah. And again, when you've seen, how many times, I feel like this has been the last 4 to 5 years, the amount of double-digit leads, if not massive double-digit leads, that in particular the Celtics have not been able to get across the line. I can remember regular season bets, Dave, where they were 9.5, 10-point favorites and losing outright in pretty spectacular fashion. So it's not like this hasn't happened before, but to see it even more the way it happened back-to-back games, Game 1, Game 2, was so egregious that I think you had to have at least some regression. I did not expect it to be just a complete and utter blowout the way it was in Game 3, but that's kind of the expectation, I think, for Boston in their locker room was, dear God, guys, we are not what we showed in Game 1 and Game 2. Let's put together 4 quarters and let's kind of show everyone what we're made of. It's
pretty amazing in 3 games the Knicks have trailed at least by 20 or more in every one of the games. It's just absolutely bizarre, and yet they're up 2-1. You just don't see that every day. Warriors, we know they're shorthanded, obviously, without Steph and that hamstring issue. They're going to be hosting the T-Wolves. And you don't want to say must wins, but we kind of throw those terms out a lot. But it does feel like for a wounded animal like the Warriors at this stage, you're getting 5.5 at home. That total, look at the total, 199.5 here in 2025 NBA playoff basketball. You make the trade for Jimmy Buckets, but it's really to be in conjunction with Steph. So I do think it's unfair a little bit for the narrative out there to be, all right, well, Jimmy's got to carry him and beat Minnesota by themselves. I will say this, I've got FOMO of not betting something that we talked about leading up to the playoffs ad nauseum, which was Minnesota 20-1 to win the West. Don't have that ticket in pocket, and now they feel like now, without Steph Curry, it might be a matter of time. We talk about the Knicks. Maybe their best punch is going to be tonight against the Celtics. Do you get the same feeling here with the Warriors?
I certainly do. And again, how many times do we see a playoff total in our modern era?
No.
Under 200. That's the case at DraftKings right now. It's 199.5. Would think we'd have to get 200 points between these teams, but hey, we just saw a 17-8 first quarter.
My goodness.
Between the Thunder and the Nuggets. So anything is possible in these NBA postseason games. I do agree with you. If you are a backer that believes the Warriors have a chance to get the fight in this series, then it's a money line play for me. I would just stay away from the spread.
Yeah.
again, we're about winning bets here, and I understand where you're going here if you're the Warriors. But to me, this would have to be a sellout spot. Plus $1.85 on the money line there for the Warriors at DraftKings. Series price plus 550 there for Golden State. But that would be the spot that I would look at here. And perhaps I would put co-favorite leans, if that's possible, between the Warriors money line and that over 199.5. I just think that someone is going to have to come up big. If it is Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, come on down. Table is available. A lot of reservations available if you want to take him. So I think that tonight is the series. Minnesota wins. It's over in 5.
Yeah, no disrespect to, as you mentioned, the aforementioned Buddy Hield or the Kumingas of the world, but like Jimmy Butler, it's going to have to be you. Hate to put it on your shoulders, dude, but if you're going to back Golden State plus 5.5, you're really backing Jimmy buckets to have a playoff Jimmy type game we used to see back in his Miami days. Very quickly, we know that certainly right now we got a great deal at VSiN, a 14-month deal right now. And it's going to be a limited time. So we're going to slash the prices of all of our annual subscriptions. Normally, they're $240. Now, it's just $199 when you go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use that promo code PRO. You're going to get 2 extra months for free. So again, 14 months of VSiN Pro. And look what it includes, Jensen. Not only the daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, VSiN Watch app access, the NFL betting guide, baby. Get excited. I'm excited. Can't wait for that. So again, when you become a VSiN Pro subscriber for $199, 14 months, VSiN.com/subscribe, that NFL betting guide will be yours as well. How about to the night on ice tonight? My Capitals, DC's Capitals. I don't know. You kind of look at it now and go, man, Hurricanes, maybe they're just flat out the better team, even though the seeding would not dictate that. You can get almost 2-1 here in the Caps on the road against the Hurricanes. If you want to go puck line here for Carolina, you can get that at plus money, plus $1.14, but that money line price pretty hefty at $2.45. Again, not a must-win if you're DC, but you feel like, boy, I really like to equalize this thing here. Maybe it's going to take something from the grade 8 to get that done.
Yeah, and I tell you, I actually kind of like this money line, 2-1. I actually really do, considering Washington has yet to play, really a complete game overall in this series. And yes, I know people are like, well, I mean, they've got wins in this series, but I'm just saying, just from a 60-minute perspective, goaltending, the power play, anxious to kind of to see what they do. But that would be a pretty significant lean for me. Would be the money line there. I don't know if it's worth the investment, what you got to lay there on the puck line plus 1.5. I would go for broke right there. And again, when you look at where the great Jonathan Davis has been all over this,
wow.
A couple of great stats here for him. Team who has lost the previous game scored a first period goal in the next game. That's 33-15. Right now, the team who lost the previous game scored the first goal of the next game, 31-17. So 2 numbers that really stand out from a trend perspective from the great Jonathan Davis, who's been on fire, by the way. If you're not following him at VSiN.com, please do it. So 2 angles right there. If you're looking at the Caps in tonight's affair, that would be where I would lean as well.
And that's why we have JD on our show each and every week. He's been fantastic throughout the entire postseason with nuggets just like that, Jensen, that you just laid out for us. Very quickly, Saturday night, we'll get to what we saw in the UFC, but also what you saw north of the border in Edmonton at the end of that one for VGK to get off the deck and score with under a second to go, get that 5-4 win. Now they're plus $1.10 here to even up this series tonight. I mean, Jensen, that was insane. And I got to think if you're Edmonton, you were up 2-0 in the series, up 2-0 in game 3, and now all of a sudden it feels like that script might have got flipped.
I got Oilers in pocket from a couple of days ago on the puck line, almost 2-1 as well. I think we see them bounce back with a vengeance.
That's going to be a game tonight in Edmonton. When we come back, baseball talk. Cody Decker next here at VSiN By The Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We continue VSiN By The Books on this Monday morning edition. Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis. I'm here at Circa downtown Las Vegas. He is back home in Cleveland, Ohio. It's not parts unknown for our next guest, right? Cody Decker. We are aware that Cody gets up early with us each and every Monday back in the East Coast. Joins us now, the Progressive Guest Line. Give him a follow on X, entertaining follow, at Decker6, co-host of Beadle and Decker. Cody, happy Monday to you, sir. And I got to ask you, because Jensen pointed something out that we're going to get to here. When it comes to managers and what's going on with the Colorado Rockies, was Bud Black the problem? Can they now turn things around with the Colorado Rockies?
Sure. Yeah, that's finally Colorado and Denver. Your long national nightmare has come to an end. Bud Black is gone. He's been the problem all along since your inception in 1992. That's right. He's been managing there for 6 years, but since 1992, Bud Black is the one that's held you back all along. Certainly not the Monfort family. No, not the owners that won't spend any money. That's literally living out the plot of the movie The Producers by putting together a terrible baseball team, but getting paid out and making more profit by not spending a dime. It's all Buddy Black's fault. That's been the problem. Thank you. We got it. Baseball is solved.
Yeah. And how about that, Cody? I'm trying to remember. So I've been part of one, at least my own team, where we let go of Eric Wedge with the Indians, but we had to play the last series of the year. It was a very awkward time where Mark Shapiro, our GM, came in the locker room, said, hey, Wedgie's not going to be back with us. And the whole coaching staff was fired too. Ooh. Yeah, we got to play a doubleheader on getaway day, go to Boston, get our rear ends kicked over the weekend, and the whole time the entire staff is not coming back. Let me follow up on Dave's point. The Padres are manager killers. They get Shelton fired in Pittsburgh, and they get the Rockies, relieving Bud Black. I mean, that's pretty remarkable road trip there for San Diego.
Which is amazing because the last team that fired Buddy Black was the San Diego Padres. I know. I was there.
You just don't see this, guys. Look, we saw Pittsburgh win 2 out of 3 immediately after that firing. You guys are both, you know what it's like, and Jensen just laid it out with Eric Wedge in Cleveland. I mean, does this make any difference, Cody, going forward for these teams?
No.
Will Pittsburgh get any better with this managerial change?
No, not at all. Maybe a quick little boost like we always see in the NBA, the win it for the Gipper game that you see after a new manager takes over. But at the end of the day, it's the Pirates. That lineup is nothing. It's the Rockies. Outside of your center fielder, you have absolutely nothing. And it's a shame that both of these franchises, front offices and farm systems don't really have much to count for either. The Rockies have built no one. They've spent money on no one. The only guy that you can actually say they spent money on was Chris Bryant. So it almost makes you say maybe the Rockies shouldn't be allowed to spend money, considering I've seen where they've spent it. Before that, it was Nolan Arenado. And what do they do with that money? They traded it away for 3 prospects that none of them are actually with the Rockies anymore. I don't know what to say other than it's the most poorly ran anything, not baseball organization, the most poorly ran anything that exists. The only reason why it does so well and why no one's actually stepped in, and I wish Major League Baseball would step in, the end of the day, it's simply that revenue sharing keeps these guys making money. They can pocket it. And honestly, if there's something that in the next CBA they should do about it, any revenue sharing money that is actually going to managers or owners in Major League Baseball, 100% that money should go back into the salary of the team. They should not be allowed to pocket it the way some of these teams do, like the Pirates, like the Rockies. Again, I'm not joking about that producer's explanation. It's literally what is happening.
Cody, I totally agree. I've been a proponent here on the union side, as well as I'm sure you would, that it'd be amazing how different the public sentiment would be if ownership had to open up the books and show the percentage of revenue going into investing in actual on-field products. So I'm 100% with you. On-field product has been phenomenal here so far in May for St. Louis and Minnesota. Neither Dave nor I had it on our bingo cards that these two teams would be the one if you're in that most regular seasons in May market, which we are. Obviously, I mean, you look at St. Louis, I think they were 150-1. The Twins were 55-1 to have the most wins in May. Here they are, winners of 8 in a row. What have you seen from both these clubs that maybe gives you a little optimism heading forward?
Byron Buxton for the Twins. I mean, if he's healthy, he's impossible not to root for. He's an unbelievable talent, but it's that first part that's always the problem. It's the first part of that being the problem for everybody that's a star for the Twins. You got a Buxton problem who can't stay healthy. You got a Lewis problem who keeps getting banged up. You got a Correa problem who is according to multiple reports, according to the Giants reports, Correa's dead apparently. So I don't even know what the hell's going on with that team when it comes to health. But when they're healthy, they can play 8 in a row. They're above 500. And by the way, the American League Central, oh man, the best division in baseball, maybe just as good as the NL West. Not something I had on my bingo card. You got 26 wins with the Tigers, who have one of the best records in the game. Then you got, of course, the Twins, who are in 4th place. That's a game over 500. Hell, the White Sox have twice the wins of the Colorado Rockies. I want to point that out real quick. The team that sets the record for least amount of wins in a season have double the wins of another team at this current juncture. So, yeah, I love this division. I really like what the Twins are doing, but I look at that division thinking the Tigers won't stop. Tarek Skubal, in his last 6 starts, has K'd 50 guys and walked 1. That is the most ridiculous strikeout to walk ratio I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, guy kind of shoves, and we can understand why he's the reigning defending Cy Young Award winner in the American League. In the National League, Cody, I keep looking at the Braves, and we talk about the Pirates somehow getting off the deck and winning 2 out of 3. That came at the expense of the ATL. And now they're not to 20 wins yet, only 19 here. We keep waiting for them, 6.5 back of the Metropolitans, to make a run in the East. Is that run going to happen for Atlanta? Like, we just think it's inevitable, but it hasn't happened yet, and that wasn't exactly a tough weekend series, and yet they lose 2 out of 3.
I'm with you. I do also think it is inevitable. I mean, you are going to get a Spencer Strider back. He's still not there yet, and I do think Spencer Strider joining this team will absolutely help. I think Acuna Jr. will absolutely help, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend, even though he's playing well, that Alex Verdugo being out there for the Atlanta Braves is what's best for business. Frankly, they need to get some bodies back out there. Once Acuna Jr. gets back out there, then I think they're going to be able to go on their run. But at the end of the day, for a team that started 0-8 to start the year, they're just 2 games under 500. They're only 6.5 behind the Mets at this point, which again, is not insurmountable, certainly not on May 12th. So I think the Braves will be okay. Schwallenbach has shown that he is a stud, but I talked to a Braves fan 2 days ago, and I mean, if you're a Braves fan and you're not looking at what Max Fried is doing and you're not furious at your front office, I don't know what to tell you.
It is going to be remarkable to see what the Braves do here moving forward, and also the backlash, if you will, to Alex Anthopoulos for maybe not making as a competitive offer as people would hope. Hey, news coming out of Arizona.
He gave up 1 run the other day, and his ERA went up like 2 points. That's how good he's been.
Yes, great call on that as well. Hey, news out of Arizona that we are potentially getting Jordan Lawler called up as early as this evening. And the way that Arizona's offense has gone, especially with Corbin Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo, I know you and I talked a lot last week about how the West could be won. 35-1, little pizza money on this kid, Rookie of the Year race for the National League, you think?
You know, I think it's as good of a stab as anybody else. When it comes to the rookie market, I will freely admit to you, I stay away like the plague. I even stayed away from Skeens last year just out of sheer fear of an injury prospect coming up. So, dude, when it comes to rookies, it's always a wait and see. When you're betting on the Rookie of the Year market, especially this early in the year, I do think it is legitimate gambling. I don't begrudge anybody doing the legitimate gambling, but I just know I can't give you a realistic answer on who I think's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I just haven't seen them face major league pitching enough.
Yeah, and don't get me started on my Mets group text every day about Baby Acuna. He's the favorite right now to win that.
Dude, the conversation I had the other day with like 4 dudes. They're like, insane. Dude, this guy's the truth. We should just get rid of everybody and only play him. I'm like, guys, it is May 10th. Can you all calm down?
There's no way I would advocate playing him at the shortest number at 4-1 to win this award. 90 seconds, Cody. Talk me off the deck. Is our Reds, because Jensen and I are invested in them in May. I've already written off the month. Once Hunter Green went on the DL. Now they're 2 games under 500. I got 78.5 wins. I got to get to 79 somehow. Am I cooked already on May 12th?
I got them to win the division, so I hope you're not cooked. I really hope you're not cooked, but I'm not going to lie to you. Losing him, my first thought was, well, there's $100 I ain't getting back.
I mean, that's the way I feel too, Jensen. I got to write this thing off.
No, I mean, we're going to be okay. I think Cody and I know the marathon is that for a reason. I'm anxious, Cody, and quickly on why people would still be invested or at least have the confidence. The Cubs have got a little trepidation coming up, even though the schedule plays out for them. Anxious to see what they do without Steele and Imanaga here, especially Imanaga here for the next several weeks.
I was worried what they were going to do with both of those guys because the bullpen is terrible. Their back end of their bullpen is terrible, and their offense can only carry them for so long. I'm worried about the Cubs. How about that? And you should be too.
I'm not rebetting. Do not rebet the Reds at 10-1. Do not rebet the Reds at 10-1. I have to write it down and tell myself, Cody, I can't do it. Appreciate you getting up with us on a Monday, as always, my friend.
Gentlemen, have a great one. I'm going to go cry about the Reds.
I am too. When we come back, can you handle the truth? We'll discuss next here. VSiN By The Books.
You're tuned in to VSiN By The Books, right here on VSiN.
We are back. VSiN By The Books. Dave Ross, Jensen. It was a lot of fun having Cody Decker on, talking some Major League Baseball in the last segment. We're going to get to the King of Connecticut in hour number 3, Will Hill, and then Rachel Dory north of the border. We just keep going further and further. Cleveland, going to go to Connecticut, then we're going to go north of the border in Canada to catch up with Rachel in hour number 3. But Jensen, I just have one simple question for everybody out there listening and watching. Can you handle the truth?
Can you handle the truth? Here's Dave Ross.
The truth of the matter is, America, when it comes to handicapping MMA, sometimes, Jensen, it's not necessarily about the MMA math. Who did you beat? I beat him. You beat him. So this is good. It's not about the analytics. Let's look at the strikes, the land, and the K. Sometimes when it comes to handicapping MMA, Jensen, it comes down to what's between the ears. The mentality of certain fighters can lead you to the window. And that happened for me north of the border Saturday night in Canada. Because as you know, I get back late after being on vacation all week, and I hadn't really broke down the fights to the best of my liking. Then on Thursday when I got back, I really started digging in it. And I saw that Belal Muhammad, the welterweight champion of the world, who is by far the best wrestler that the division has to offer, comes out and says, you know what I'm going to do in my first title defense? I'm going to strike. I'm going to show you those Canelo Alvarez hands. His words, Belal Muhammad's words, that all of a sudden I'm going to throw hands with Jack Della Maddalena, the striker from Australia, and I'm going to go in as almost a $2 betting favorite as Belal Muhammad closed. And I went, whoa. What am I missing? So what did I do? I had to go to the window on JDM, the challenger, only because the mentality was such that the fighter told me his best and easiest pathway to victory, he wasn't even going to utilize it. And sure enough, true to his word, Belal Muhammad did not shoot early in this fight. And what did we see play out? We saw JDM show those hands, get into that flow state, and start letting those hands go. And while Belal Muhammad, it was fantastic to watch, an extraordinary main event, action-packed, that's wonderful. But if you had a ticket on Belal, I would not be happy with him today. So, Jensen, I was asked this when I got back in town, and it came from our buddy Dan Moneyline Miller, and he just tweets me on Thursday. He says, D. Ross, it's got to be Belal by decision, right? And my retort was this, Jensen. I think so, but something tells me Belal's going to start falling in love with his improved hands. And when you're a champion, sometimes you want to do the too much thing, and that's where the danger lurks at UFC 315. And I gave him the Australian flag with the eyes emoji, meaning that I was looking towards the JDM side if this was the mentality of the fighter going in. Now, look, I've seen this before. This is not a Belal Muhammad exclusive to him as champions in the UFC. You can go back to Ronda Rousey. When Ronda Rousey basically put women's MMA on the map, at least in the UFC, what did she do? She was the best judo practitioner we'd ever seen. It got her to the title. And then all of a sudden, she started to learn how to throw hands. And she knocks a couple women out. And now all of a sudden, she thinks she's a hands fighter. So she fights a stand-up fight with Holly Holm, and we see the head kick heard around Melbourne, Australia that day, and a new champion. Well, she's going to learn from that when she fights Amanda Nunes. Nope. She's going to go throw hands and get knocked out. So that happens. I was on the wrong side of a Sean Strickland fight against Alex Pereira. Sean Strickland tells everybody, I'm going to walk right to Alex Pereira and knock him out. And I thought, oh, Jensen, he's just saying that, right? That's the mentality. Sometimes these fighters lie. They're not really going to do it. And I knew I was cooked about 30 seconds into the fight when Sean Strickland walked to Alex Pereira, hands down, and got knocked out. And then I was on the beneficiary of the mentality of a fighter when Jamal Hill was the champion and fought Alex Pereira. And all of a sudden, what does he say leading up to the fight all week? I'm going to stand and strike with this guy. Yeah, I can wrestle. I'm a great wrestler. But I'm going to strike with Alex Pereira. I laid the small price point of that, $1.25 in Alex Pereira. He knocks out Jamal Hill in the first round. So you can find avenues when you hear from the fighters themselves in MMA. And I do think it might be exclusive to mixed martial arts. That is a product of one, bad strategy by Belal Muhammad, and bad coaching. To tell Belal Muhammad, you need to be exciting. You can go beat him up. Show those Canelo Alvarez hands, and let's go ahead and defend our crown. So what did that get Belal Muhammad today here on a Monday? It got him this face if you're watching at VSiN.com. Look at that lip. I hope you're not having breakfast out there in Cleveland. I mean, that thing is nasty. Look at the eye. That's from a knee from JDM in that fifth round, right above the cheekbone there. It got him all sorts of busted up, and it gets him waking up this morning, not able to drink coffee, and being beltless and not having the crown anymore. And so now it's going to throw Belal Muhammad back into a killer's division at 170 pounds. You got to wait for a Shavkat Rakhmonov. Maybe it's Ian Machado Gary. Maybe it's a rematch with Sean Brady. That's what the mentality of fighters gets a Belal Muhammad today. And again, Belal, you're getting your flowers on social media. I even gave them to you too. Hell of a fight. Super exciting. Why didn't you use the best weapon in your arsenal to win? Is it exclusive only to MMA? Maybe not so much. You can go back 30 years ago with the Braves against the Yankees, and Mark Wohlers, with his second best pitch, gets beat by Jim Leyritz, and that flips that whole series, and the Yankees go on to win the World Series. You can go back to Pete Carroll. Maybe if he hands the ball off at the 1 yard line of Marshawn Lynch instead of having, Russell Wilson throw a slant pattern, the mentality, it catches you. But you know this, Jensen. In team sports, if I give you a track plan and you don't execute it, we just take you out of the game. We just switch you out. We'll go get somebody. You can't do that in MMA. So I look at that, and I think the only fighter, Jensen, I've ever seen at the high, these are the highest levels, Belal. This is not a shot at Belal Muhammad. He was champion. He earned it. And I was on him as a $2 betting underdog against Leon Rocky Edwards because I knew he was going to wrestle. And that's how he won the belt. It's John Jones. And it might make John Jones the best MMA practitioner we've ever seen. Because before he fought Daniel Cormier those two times, he said, what does Daniel Cormier do? He's the best wrestler we've seen, right? At light heavyweight. I'll go out and out-wrestle Daniel Cormier. And he did it, which is astounding. But that is the rare exception. So I think you can look at these fights during the week, and guys like Lou Finocchiaro do an amazing job of watching the weigh and seeing the weight cuts. It got me off, say, Jose Aldo and his fight against Sahabi, which was a great fight as well. But the weight cut was tough. You can find some of those angles, but I think the hardest angle to figure out in MMA, Jensen, is the mentality that you bring into the octagon. And once you start it, it's really hard to stop. And I think we saw that on display Saturday night.
It's a great analogy for me to take on the baseball side because, we have scouting reports. We have, various things coming into each individual series that we use in evaluating opposing teams. It was always imposed upon me, especially after my first start in professional baseball. Never forget the conversation with Tony Arnold, who was my pitching coach. He said, it's your career. You can choose to do what you want and what you don't want to do. Just always remember, it's your career. So you are the first and last line of defense. You are where the accountability begins and ends. This isn't about the organization. This isn't about teammates. This isn't about anything else. This is about you. And you choose your destiny, and it will be whatever you make of it. And so to bring it full circle to where we are here, and this is applicable. We'll even look at this upcoming for the PGA Championship. And I'll use Rory McIlroy, right? All that pressure, he tried to stay. We talked about this heading into Sunday, the Masters. He tried to stay in that bubble, did not want any distraction, watched, cartoons with his kid. Bryson DeChambeau is out putting with neighbors in the neighborhood he was staying in. Two completely different guys. Two completely different approaches. it works for them, but credit where it's due. They stayed with their strengths. The better man won, and it was Rory McIlroy. And it was peaks and valleys that day, but the better man won, and Bryson DeChambeau will win again. But for me, just on a personal note, that was always something I remembered from my first outing was, if I'm going to get beat, I got to get beat with my best, because I will be up at night. I will be just losing hours of sleep if I get beat with my second best pitch or my third best pitch, and it's a consequential outing or game. I preach this to you all the time. Games mean the same on the calendar in April and May as they do in August and September. So go with your best. If you're beat with your best, that's what that opponent is paid to do. But you never want to go down swinging with anything less than your best.
If you hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch in the 1 yard line and they stuff it, the Patriots stuff it, we tip our cap, right? If JDM stuffs all these takedown attempts that never came from Bilal Muhammad early in the fight, then we would have tipped our cap to JDM. But when you fight a fighter like that at his best strength and you're backing Bilal Muhammad as a $2 betting underdog, not for my money, man. That's perplexing. And again, everybody's saying what a great fight and tough guy, all those things. His nickname is Remember the Name. He should remember the face that we showed on the screen. Don't fight like that if you don't have to, Bilal Muhammad. Just word to the wise out there. Right now, you can bet the Preakness. There's the face again. If you missed the face, it's just, I'm sorry, Bilal, but you're better than that. The Preakness Stakes is coming up next. First bet, you can get rewarded with it right now. New customers use the promo code VSiN200 when you do 20% rebate on all wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. That's firstbet.bet. Firstcom.bet.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.